The world has a history of many criminals, but there was a criminal in the South American country of Colombia who was not only fierce and powerful, but was also the seventh richest person in the world. This uncrowned king of the cocaine world was the owner of $25 billion in late 1980. At that time, the total GDP of Colombia was about $39 billion, which means that he alone roamed around with about 65% of the country's GDP in his pocket. He was so rich that his gang did not count money but weighed it in kilos. He had to store his wealth in a godown where rats would eat up 10% of his earnings every year. While he spent money like water on his favorite things like buildings, islands, private zoos, soccer fields, cars, submarines, and airplanes, he would burn millions of dollars in fire to save his daughter from the cold. Even after doing all this, there was not even an iota of change in his wealth. The world's biggest and richest drug mafia had only one law. Plata o plomo. Plata means that if you join me, I will make you so rich that your 7 generations will live on it, and plomo means that if you go against me, not just you, I will destroy your entire family. Because of this dangerous rule of his, be it the police or ministers, journalists or judges, everyone was in his pocket. Whoever went against him, he killed them. In his crime history, he killed more than 4,000 people, out of which more than 600 were police officers only. His fear was such that people's souls trembled at his name alone, and he was so powerful that the constitution of the country was changed at his command. And even if he was arrested, it was only on the condition that the jail would be built by him and the jail guards would also be his. This story, containing many such thrilling aspects, is of the world's biggest and richest drug lord, Pablo Escobar, who made such a mark in the world of crime that even after more than 20 years of his death, no one else could be like him. Acre o cocaine. The Escobar family, he is reported to have smuggled 1,100 pounds of refined cocaine into the night. He is a renowned drug trafficker. He is a killer, but a hero. Yo Escobar Garia was born in December 1949 in the city of Rig, Colombia. He was the third child of his parents. His father was a farmer and mother was a schoolteacher. Soon after his birth, his family shifted to the city of Medellín, where Pablo grew up and did his primary education in the same school. Initially, he dreamt of becoming a lawyer and then going into politics and becoming the president. But with increasing age, his views and interests started changing. He understood that the most powerful person in the world is the one who has money. If there is money, then whether it is a lawyer or a politician, everyone can be kept in the pocket. He understood the importance of money even more when he had to leave his studies midway due to the poor financial condition of the house. After leaving studies, he decided that he wanted to earn a lot of money, no matter what path he had to take for it. He promised himself that if he did not earn 1 million rupees by the age of 25, he would commit suicide. This desire to become rich as soon as possible pushed him into the world of crime. He started doing various legal works along with his cousin Gustav Gaviria, which included selling fake diplomas, smuggling sound equipment, and stealing tombstones. But how much and for how long could he become rich with these small thefts? Therefore, taking a big step, at the age of less than 20, he started stealing cars and kidnapping rich people. He would earn a lot of money by stealing cars and selling their parts. He would kidnap rich people and collect a good ransom in exchange for their release. If the victim's family refused to give money, he would kill them brutally. On many occasions, he would kill the victims despite getting ransom just to establish his dominance. The same thing happened when in 1971 he kidnapped industrialist Diego H. Varia and demanded $10,000 in exchange for his release. Even after his demand was met and he got the desired amount, he killed Diego. This series of theft and kidnapping continued like this, and while fulfilling the promise made to himself, he became a millionaire at the age of just 22. On one hand, his increasing criminal activities were making him dominant among the other criminals. On the other hand, he also started coming under the eyes of the police. After escaping from the police many times, he was finally arrested in the year 1974 for stealing a car, due to which he had to spend several months in jail. Even after going to jail, Pablo's courage did not waver. Rather, he found a way to bribe the police and continued his work. Pablo's aim was to earn money, So wherever he saw more earnings, he would enter every field. For money, he would first do theft and then forgery. He used to commit crimes like kidnapping and murder, but when he came across the cocaine business, all other work started to seem pale in front of its profit. This was the period of 1970 when Colombian drug traffickers were printing a lot of money by smuggling drugs in America. Whoever was in this business was getting rich. Seeing this as an opportunity, Pablo Escobar decided to enter this business. Initially, he worked for many drug mafias from whom he learned the nuances of the drug business. He not only learned about the smuggling routes but also established many important connections in the drug world, which would be very useful for him in the future. Pablo knew very well that big success and big money cannot be earned by working for others, so after having a good understanding of the world of drugs, he wanted to create his own drug gang. To establish himself in this business, his first target was to remove the big players from the way. With this objective, in the year 1975, he started the drug gang. He got Medellín's biggest cocaine trafficker Fabrespo killed and spared the lives of his men on the condition that they all would have to work for him. After this incident, the rest of the drug traffickers were afraid of Pablo, which made it easier for him to build his business. The next year, 1976, brought many important turns in Pablo Escobar's life. This year, he started his own Medellín Cartel along with criminals like Ochoa brothers, Carlos Leder and José Rodríguez Cha, whose work was from production to distribution of cocaine. Pablo himself became the head of the cartilage, who had already developed relations with cocaine producers, transport experts, and some corrupt government officials. He used strange methods to supply cocaine, sometimes in car tires, sometimes in TV sets, sometimes inside fish stomachs, and sometimes in condoms. Apart from this, he also supplied cocaine by filling it in the tires of airplanes and used to give a reward of $1 million for every flight to the pilot who helped him in doing this. Thus, under his leadership, the business of the cartel started growing, and he started earning a lot. When he had more wealth, he bought submarines and aircraft to expand his business core and started supplying cocaine to America from countries like Peru, Bolivia, and Ecuador, including Colombia. The surprising thing was that despite being surrounded by cocaine for 2,400 hours, Pablo did not consume cocaine himself, due to which his colleagues trusted him a lot. While his business started running well, in the same year, in March 1976, he married his girlfriend Maria Victoria now, who was only 15 years old and 11 years younger than him. But the year 1976 did not only bring happiness and wealth in Pablo's life, but also brought prison bars in his life. On June 9, 1976, in a raid by the Colombian intelligence agency, about 40 pounds of cocaine were recovered from the tires of Pablo's car, after which Pablo and his 6 companions were arrested and put in jail. But this time, he was not going to stay in jail for long because he had learnt many tricks of the world of crime till now. He knew when and where to throw which dice. He found a way out of jail by bribing some police officers, lawyers, and judges, and by threatening some others. As soon as he was released from jail, to set an example, he killed those 2 agents who had arrested him. In this way, Pablo had made his intentions clear to the whole world that either work with me or get killed. This is what he named plata and plomo. Plata means take bribe and join me. I will fill you with money from top to bottom, or plomo means if you go against me, I will destroy you as well as your family. Be it a journalist or a police officer, minister or judge, he kept only these 2 options in front of everyone. The result of this dangerous rule of his was that people started taking bribes out of fear from him, and his business started growing by leaps and bounds. When the business started growing, Pablo's wealth also started increasing immensely. Pablo started looking for ways to earn more money from that wealth. His cartel bought a lot of land on Norman's Island in Bahamas. He also bought a 1-kilometer airstrip, many aircrafts, a harbor, some boats, and houses. A refrigerated warehouse was also built there to store cocaine. After this island became the central smuggling route of Pablo's Medellín Cartel. This place was chosen very thoughtfully because the coast of Florida in America was very close from here in comparison to Colombia, due to which cocaine could be sent to America with more speed and ease from here. He also tied up with many drug carts of Colombia with the offer that if they supply their drugs through him, then Pablo will make full payment in case of being caught by the police or any loss. In this way, other carts also started getting drugs supplied through him, for which Pablo charged a big cut of their profit. Pablo's strategy was working. In a blink of an eye, he had become a major player in the international drug trade, where America in 1980, cocaine was being exported by him. Apart from America, he had also captured the largest portion of cocaine trade in Mexico, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, and
Spain.
The result of this dangerous expansion was that he started earning $420 million every week from cocaine, due to which he was called the king of cocaine all over the world. Pablo's fortunes were at their peak. He was living the life of his dreams. He had so much money that he had to spend 1,000 rupees every month on rubber bands to tie them. It would take several days to count them. Therefore, their account was kept, and they were stored in the godown. Every year, about $2 billion were eaten by rats or rotted away. Since the earnings were enormous, Pablo's expenses were also no less. He had become the owner of many private planes, helicopters, cars, buildings, and bungalows. He spent the most on building a house in Medellín itself, which he named Santander Nápoles. He built a house in the city of Medellín. The house was built on 7,000 acres of land, the land of which was worth $63 million. He built his personal airport and heliport in that luxurious house. He also built a personal zoo with several artificial lakes, 6 swimming pools, soccer fields, dinosaur statues, bullfighting arena, and tennis courts. Pablo Escobar's zoo had 200 types of animals including elephants, lions, rhinoceros, gazelles, zebras, hippos, camels, and ostriches, some of which were not found inside Colombia, so he got them smuggled from foreign countries through his planes. Because of money, the world was in Pablo's hands. Whatever he wanted, he could get it with just a gesture. He had earned so much wealth by then that not only he but even his future generations could survive if they did not work, but they could survive with the money he earned. But he was so intoxicated with wealth and power that even all this seemed less to him. To become even more powerful, he decided to fulfill all his childhood desires and become a politician. His strategy was that if he becomes a big politician, he will remain safe from the law for the rest of his life. With this objective, he started working for public welfare. He built houses, hospitals, schools, churches, parks, and stadiums for the poor, due to which the public started liking him, and his personality became like a Robin Hood among the people. Amidst the growing popularity, Pablo Escobar started campaigning for the parliament seat of Colombia, and after some time in November 1982, he was elected as a substitute for Jairo Ortega. Pablo had now become a member of the Colombian parliament. The world was surprised that the biggest criminal of Colombia is sitting in the power of the country. The limit was crossed when once he was sent to Spain as the official representative of the Colombian government.
It was
difficult for anyone to digest this because Pablo Escobar was the one who supplied the most drugs in Spain. In this way, by coming into politics, he made himself even more powerful. His cartel business now became even more, things were running smoothly, and he had captured 80% of the cocaine trade market not only in the US but in the entire world. His dream now was to make his political career so big that he could become the president of the country, but with such a big criminal record, he could not even save his parliament seat, let alone becoming the president. Soon, people from the opposition party started exposing his crimes, and he was openly questioned. His political career suffered a major setback when Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla exposed his entire secrets and started an investigation against him. His old cases were opened in the investigation, and an order was given to seize his properties and planes bought from the money earned from drugs. The remaining task was completed when a newspaper named El Espectador published all these things and exposed the entire truth of Pablo to the world. Although everyone was aware of his business, but due to his fear, power, and bribe, everyone pretended to be ignorant even after knowing. Being in a big position in the country, for how long could his work be ignored? In the greed for power, he might lose his wealth as well, so Pablo Escobar resigned from his seat in January 1984 and retired from politics, but in the fire of revenge, he brutally killed Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla, and the editor of El Espectador newspaper. Pablo Escobar's increasing crimes were now troubling the Colombian government a lot, so an arrest warrant was issued against him, due to which he was forced to live in hiding. The government had to bear the brunt of not taking action against drug smugglers, so the Colombian government also signed an extension agreement with the U.S., under which drug traffickers like Pablo were to be caught and handed over to America. Pablo was responsible for smuggling cocaine in the 80s in America, so America wanted to catch him and keep him imprisoned in its jail. Similarly, Pablo Escobar was also afraid of being caught by America. He knew that he would be killed here. He can be free in Colombia whenever he wants, but once he comes into the hands of America, he will never be able to escape. Therefore, he put a condition in front of the Colombian government that if he is not handed over to America and is kept in Colombia's jail, he will surrender. But the government refused to accept his condition. Later, he offered the government that if he is not handed over to America by giving him relief from the extradition agreement, he will repay Colombia's debt of $10 billion. The deal to repay the country's debt was good, but due to the bad reputation, the government did not agree to this condition as well. When he could not get anything done with a straight finger, he resorted to bloodshed. He created a los extra-tribunalization against extra policies. Any senior officer who spoke in favor of the extradition agreement would get him killed. Apart from this, he funded the left-wing guerrillas known as A1, who attacked the Colombian Supreme Court in November 1985 and killed about half of the top judges. The Supreme Court was destroyed, and the extradition agreement was also abolished. Thousands of documents were burnt to ashes. In this way, Pablo had started a war against his own country, but even after doing all this, his troubles did not reduce. Virgilio Barco Vargas signed an extension treaty with the U.S. as soon as he became the new president of the country. With the help of U.S. agencies, Colombian forces raided his hideouts and started seizing his cocaine storage. Seeing him falling from all sides, his rival, Cali Cattle, also started targeting him. In this way, behind Pablo Escobar were the Colombian government, the American government, and now Cali Cattle, who not only killed many of his members, but also targeted his wife and children and killed many members of the Cali cartels by exploding 70 kilograms of dynamite just in front of his building. And then dozens of properties of the owner of that cartel were destroyed by bomb blasts. Seeing the losses from both sides, this cartel war stopped, but the sword of America was still hovering over his head. Time kept changing, but neither the extension agreement was rejected nor Pablo's efforts stopped, and thus the year 1989 arrived. This year brought shocking figures for the world. One figure was of Pablo Escobar's net worth, which was about $25 billion, and according to this, he was the 7th richest person in the world. Another figure was of the murders committed by Pablo, which actually did not have any accurate number. Everyone just knew that he was not only at the height of his wealth, but had also reached the peak of his bloody game. That year, his cartel carried out more than 100 bomb blasts in cities like Bogotá, Medellín, Cali, Becerra, Manga, Cate, Gina Barracks, and Pereira, in which hundreds of people were killed. Killing someone was no longer a need for him, but had become his habit. He could get anyone killed whenever he wanted. He did not spare civilians, rivals, police officers, journalists, ministers, and judges. Now, the leaders who were going to become the new president of the country were also on his target. In August 1989, he killed Luis Carlos Galán, the biggest contender for the post of president. In November 1989, he bombed Avianca Flight 203 to kill Cesar Gaviria, the second main candidate for the post of president. More than 100 innocent people were killed. Luckily, Cesar Gaviria missed this flight, due to which he survived and became the next president of the country. After this, the bloody game between the Colombian forces and Pablo continued for many months. Where Pablo used to give huge rewards to the gangsters to kill as many police officers as possible, the Colombian forces also killed many of his close associates, including his cousin and right-hand Gustave Gavia, brother-in-law Fab Now, and his cartel's second-in-command Rodriguez Goncha, who had evolved in his crime. Along with this, hundreds of his associates were arrested. This continuous bloody activity came to a halt when in 1991 the Colombian authorities decided to obey Pablo's will. While announcing the decision, the law of handing over Colombian criminals to America was repealed. Pablo Escobar is believed to be behind the change in this law. But he was not going to accept just this and wanted more concessions from the government on the basis of his terrorism, so he surrendered himself in June 1991 on the condition that he would stay in a prison built by him, and the guards for the security of that prison would also be his own. He also put a condition that Colombian police should not be present within 12 miles of the prison. Seeing the continuous bomb blasts and murders being carried out by him, the Colombian government was forced to accept this condition of his. This was the first time in history when a criminal was given so much comfort that he could live in a prison built by him. Pablo Escobar had done this miracle with his dominance. He built a luxurious prison named La Cathedral for himself, whose rooms were no less than a five-star hotel. The well-decorated rooms had big beds, TV sets, music players, imported furniture, personal library, and there were carpeted floors and there were pool rooms, bars and soccer fields in the jail, where big celebrities, soccer players, and beauty queens used to come to meet him. Amidst all these facilities, he was not only living a luxurious life, but his business meetings were also going on without any hindrance. Under his leadership, 15 tons of cocaine was being supplied every day in the U.S. alone, from which he was earning a lot of money. In this way, Pablo Escobar was in jail only in name. His stay there did not change his routine, nor did it affect his illegal business. For many months, he lived comfortably in the jail built by him. But one day, when he tortured and brutally killed 2 members of his cartel, the government's worries started increasing again. The government had understood that Pablo's stay in that jail would neither reduce his cocaine business nor his brutality, so it was decided to keep him under tight security. To catch him, on July 22, 1992, Colombian forces knocked on the door of La Cathedral prison, but it was too late by then. Pablo Escobar had already come to know about the government's plan through his sources, and he had already escaped before the arrival of Colombian forces. His escape from prison was very embarrassing for the Colombian authorities. America was reprimanding them for this negligence. The American government wanted to stop the increasing drug supply in its country as soon as possible, for which the arrest of cocaine king Pablo Escobar was most important. Therefore, taking strict action, the Drug Enforcement Agency of America, DEA, along with the Colombian police and army formed an operation unit called Search Block to catch Pablo Escobar. Also, a reward of 2.7 billion Colombian pesos was declared for the person giving any important information related to him. Pablo Escobar had sown so many seeds of enmity in his rule that now it was difficult for him to survive for long. While the Colombian and American governments were after him, he was also caught. A paramilitary group named Los Papas had also been formed to finish him off. This group was of Pablo's rivals and enemies who also had the support of those family members whose loved ones were killed by Pablo. He had killed more than 4,000 people in his life, among whom were hundreds of policemen. From this, it can be guessed that how many thousands of people would support this group against him. Pablo Escobar, who was sitting at the peak of wealth and fame, had become the enemy of everyone. On one hand, the police were targeting his associates and members, while on the other hand, the Los Papas group was also killing hundreds of his associates. This was probably the first time when even his wealth of billions of rupees was not able to provide him protection. After escaping from jail, he somehow remained away from the clutches of the police for about 1.5 years. But on December 1st, 1993, when he was celebrating his 44th birthday by partying with his friends at his secret hideout, he did not even know that this would be his last birthday. Birthday is about to come. On the occasion of his birthday, he talked to his wife, children, and many of his special people on the phone for hours. They were being traced by the technical assistance authorities of the U.S., due to which his location was found out. The very next day, on December 2nd, 1993, Colombian police raided a building in Medellín. Seeing the police, Pablo and his companions started running from the roof of the building. When the police chased them, Pablo started firing, due to which the police also started firing at him. In this firing, he was hit by several bullets one after the other, due to which Pablo Escobar, the owner of billions of rupees, guilty of the destruction of millions of people and the murder of thousands of people, died in a few seconds. However, A theory behind his death is also believed to be that he shot himself. He often used to say that it would be better to be buried in the soil of Colombia than rotting in the U.S. jail, and the day he will feel that the game has gone out of his hands, he will commit suicide himself. Whatever the reason, the world's biggest and richest drug mafia. He had died, and it was a big achievement for the Colombian government. At his funeral, a crowd of about 25,000 people mourned his death because he was the savior of many of them. Even after Pablo Escobar, there were many drug mafias in the world, but he was the only one who was known as the king of cocaine and remained in the list of the world's richest people for 7 years.